Welcome to the explainer, folks. Listen, the stakes literally do not get any higher than this. We have officially reached the knockout crucible of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and guess what? The margins for error, poof, they've completely vanished. Over the next few minutes, we're going to distill absolutely everything you need to know before kickoff. We're talking tactics, we're talking devastating injuries, and the unbelievable storylines defining this entire tournament. Out of the entire world, only 8 teams remain in the hunt for World Cup immortality. I mean, just think about the absolute heavyweights who have already packed their bags, right? Brazil, stunned by Norway. Germany, bouncing out early yet again. Mexico, losing a total heartbreaker at the Azteca. But for France, Morocco, Spain, Belgium, Norway, England, Argentina, and Switzerland, well, the dream is still very much alive. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap. We're going to break down France versus Morocco, Spain taking on Belgium, Norway clashing with England, Argentina against the Swiss, and finally, we'll wrap up by looking at the ultimate favorites to win the whole thing. Starting with matchup number 1, France versus Morocco, a true David versus Goliath scenario. So on one side of the pitch, you've got France, and they have been an absolute juggernaut. I mean, they've outscored opponents 14-2 in this tournament. Kylian Mbappe is on a singular, relentless quest to join the all-time greats by winning a second World Cup right at his absolute peak. But then you look at the other side, and we have Morocco. And let's be clear, they are no longer just a cute underdog story. They've got a fierce tournament identity. They've already shocked the Netherlands and Canada with this incredibly disciplined, fearless style of play. They are aiming to become the very first African nation to ever reach a World Cup final. And honestly, they've got the defensive structure to frustrate literally anyone. But of course, here is where the plot thickens drastically. Both of these squads have just suffered devastating twists in their midfield engines. France is dealing with a left adductor tear to Aurélien Tchouameni. He picked it up in training, making him a major doubt. Meanwhile, Morocco's standout performer, Ismaïl Saibari, the guy who scored that decisive penalty against the Netherlands, he was forced off with a suspected hamstring tear against Canada. Now, what's really interesting about this is the massive human drama behind these injuries. Tchouameni, he didn't mince words at all. He came right out and admitted, my injury, it's bad. France relies so heavily on him to anchor their midfield, right? He's the guy who allows their attacking stars to push up and shine. If he is actually out, it could create the exact transitional opening that an aggressive, fast-breaking Moroccan team needs to pull off this upset. Moving right along to matchup number 2, Spain versus Belgium, flawless versus lethal. Now, just take a second to let this number sink in. 609. That is how many consecutive minutes Spain's goalkeeper, Unai Simon, has gone without conceding a single goal in this World Cup. That is the longest streak ever by a goalkeeper. This entire Spanish backline has been an impenetrable fortress for the last 180 minutes of knockout football. So we've got a really stark contrast here. On one hand, a youthful, possession-mastering Spanish side, led by guys like Lamine Yamal and Pedri, riding an incredible 35-game unbeaten streak. But they're running headfirst into the last stand of Belgium's golden generation. The Belgians might be aging. You know, Kevin De Bruyne is 35, Romelu Lukaku is 33. But man, they are lethal. Belgium is unbeaten in their last 18 matches, and they've scored a terrifying 9 goals in their last 2 games alone. It is literally Spain's flawless defense going toe-to-toe with Belgium's rapid-fire attack. When we break down the injury updates for this one, there's a massive, massive blow for Belgium. They've lost Amadou Onana to a torn right ACL, which is going to keep him out for 9 to 12 months. Losing Onana's physical presence in the center of the pitch, that is devastating when you're facing a Spanish team that wants to dictate possession for like 70% of the match. Now, as for Spain, they're cautiously managing Nico Williams, who has a groin strain, leaving his status pretty uncertain, though Yeremy Pino is available even with a shoulder sprain. Let's head into matchup number 3, Norway versus England, underdog versus heavyweight. This match pits Norway, who are riding the ultimate high of their first ever World Cup quarterfinal appearance after completely stunning 5-time champion Brazil 2-1. Just an incredible run. On the flip side, we have England, who just survived an absolute crucible. Picture this. They went into the Azteca, went down to 10 men after a red card, faced an insanely hostile crowd, and somehow still grinded out a gritty 3-2 victory over Mexico. So England has proven they can overcome adversity for sure, but now they have to face a completely different type of monster. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what they're up against. 62. England has to stop a guy who has 62 goals in just 54 appearances for his country. We are, of course, talking about Erling Haaland. He is arguably the most dominant striker on the planet right now, and he proved it by single-handedly dismantling Brazil. England's center backs are going to have to play the absolute game of their lives to keep him quiet. And complicating matters for England are some truly bizarre injury setbacks. In what has to be the most frustrating freak injury of the tournament, veteran Jordan Henderson is out with a severe broken wrist. How did he do it? By tripping over an advertising hoarding while celebrating the win against Mexico. You literally can't make this stuff up. Furthermore, star defender Reece James is still undergoing accelerated rehab for a hamstring strain. Now, England definitely has depth, but these are absolute X factors that could completely destabilize their rhythm. Setting up our final quarterfinal, number 4, Argentina versus Switzerland, champions versus dark horse. So the crucial point here is that Argentina clearly has the offensive firepower. Lionel Messi has already tallied 7 goals this tournament, and he is on a massive quest to become the first captain in history to win back-to-back World Cups. But while they are totally brilliant going forward, they've shown some major defensive vulnerabilities. Switzerland, on the other hand, they're making their first quarterfinal appearance since 1954 by doing what they do best: compressing space, frustrating attackers, and taking games deep. If the Swiss can just sit back and absorb the pressure, they can definitely exploit Argentina's leaky defense. If you want concrete proof of Argentina's vulnerability, look no further than their round of 16 match against Egypt. At the 78th minute, the defending champions were actually trailing by 2 goals. It honestly looked like the dream was over, but champions know how to survive. In the span of just 13 minutes, they surged with 3 unanswered goals, securing a wildly improbable 3-2 comeback in stoppage time. It was majestic to watch, but a more patient, highly organized Swiss team, they might not let them off the hook so easily if they happen to fall behind. Section number 5, the ultimate favorites. Let's move to and see how this builds into the broader context of the tournament. Looking at the latest outright winner odds, the bookmakers definitely have a clear hierarchy. France is sitting pretty comfortably as the clear favorite at 15-8. Their depth and attacking verve just give them a serious edge. Right behind them, though, is Spain at 7-2. That flawless defensive streak is clearly making believers out of the odds makers. And then you've got Argentina close behind at 4-1, largely leaning on their championship pedigree and, well, the absolute magic of Messi. The final 8 is set. The brackets are locked. From Holland's explosive power to Spain's historic defensive streak to Morocco's giant-killing confidence, this tournament is completely wide open. So based on everything we've just unpacked today, who do you think is going to survive this crucible and lift the ultimate trophy on July 19th? The beautiful game is about to deliver its final verdict, so whatever you do, keep your eyes on the pitch.